We are recording. Today is Monday.
May 5th.
May 5th, Cinco de Mayo.
So
Right?
where are the libations?
Yeah.
Yeah, or let's make this quick.
Yeah. Good on you. This is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Underhill Development Review Board for Monday, May 5th, 2025. We have one item on the agenda tonight. Actually, we have several items on the agenda, one new application, so I didn't print out my agenda. First one's an organizational meeting. Okay. And we have to elect chair, vice chair, and clerk. So is Shani on?
No.
Shani's not on. I vote Shani for chair.
And Matt.
I vote Matt for vice chair. Does anybody want to be the chairman? Don't be looking at me. I don't want to be the chairman, I just do it.
I nominate Charlie.
But you do it.
I second that. I second that nomination.
All right, so as in the past, Charlie wants to roll as
So let's make it clear for our minute taker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I nominate Charlie to be chair of the DRB.
We need
And
Brian.
I seconded that nomination. You have to have a second.
Yes,
Pardon me.
and then ask if there's any further nominations.
Is there any further nominations? Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of me being chair?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No one's opposed, okay. We need to elect vice chair. So I would nominate Brian to be vice chair.
I second it.
So nomination by Charlie, seconded by Penny. Any other nominations for vice chair? Any discussion on vice chair? Any comments from the vice chair?
Nope, I'm happy to do it another year.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Great. We have to elect the clerk. Matt picked the wrong meeting not to show up.
I nominate Matt.
So you nominate Matt Chapik. Karen McKnight nominates Matt Chapik for chair.
I second it. Penny
Penny
Miller.
Miller seconds it for chair. For clerk. Any other nominations for clerk? Any discussion on clerk?
I think Matt
Sorry,
does a
Matt,
fine
you gotta
job.
show up.
Well, and he's right nearby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very convenient.
Yeah.
Um,
So all those in favor of Matt Chapik being elected clerk for the next year, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Any opposed? No one opposed, motion carries. All right, do you want to do minutes or you want to wait?
No, you could, it's actually 6:29, 6:30. Just call the meeting order, I guess.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order at 6:29 PM.
Call it 6:30.
Call it 6:30.
All right.
So we have on our docket DRB 25-0 through 03, which is an application to consider site plan and conditional use review submitted by the town of Underhill for proposed open public pavilion in Moore Park, which is located directly across Pleasant Valley Road from the Underhill Town Hall. The property is in the Underhill Center Village Zoning District. Conditional use review hearings intended to ensure compliance with the standards, addressing potential impacts of development on adjoining properties, the neighborhood, and or the zoning district in which the development is located, and the community at large. Typically, land uses are subject to conditional use review because their scale, intensity, and potential for off-site impacts warrant more careful scrutiny by the Development Review Board. Standards and conditions to be imposed relate to the identification, avoidance, and/or mitigation of potential impacts. Conditional use review requires that the Development Review Board additionally apply site plan review standards. Site plan review is intended to ensure the site layout and development design are functional, safe, attractive, and consistent with the proposed character of the district in which the development is located. Standards are specifically related to the internal layout of the site, its physical design, and the function and visual integration of the site with adjoining properties, uses, and infrastructures. Should additional information be required, the board reserves the option to continue the hearing to a date and time certain for that information to be submitted and reviewed by the board. So next step for me is to identify the DRB members and zoning administrator who are present in person or on the go-to-meeting hearing. To my right is the interim zoning administrator, Brad Holden, who is also the town administrator, who is representing the applicant in this application. To his right is Karen McKnight. To her right is Penny Miller. Penny's right is Brian Birch. Brian's right is Dan Lee. To Dan's right is Greg Leach. And to Greg's right is Mark Hamlin. Any questions? Everybody get their names out. Good. Is there any public or members of the public? We have no members participating online. We have no members participating online. We have no public in attendance at the meeting. We have no public in attendance online. Are there any state or municipal representatives present other than Brad and acting in their representative capacity? Let the record say there's none. So copies of the rules of procedure the board follows, as well as an interested party information sheet, are available to all attendees for review on the website. It can also be obtained from the interim zoning administrator.
We have some.
Probably.
Only those interested persons who have participated either orally or through written statements in a DRB proceeding may appeal a decision under that court, proceeding to the Environmental Division of Vermont Superior Court. If an applicant, a representative of the applicant, or an interested party wishes to participate in the hearing, we ask that you clearly state your name prior to speaking. We will now swear in all those present who wish to speak tonight regarding the application. All individuals in person and online who wish to testify must take the following oath by responding "I do" at the end of this statement. Do you hereby swear that the evidence you give in the cause under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth under the pains and penalties of perjury?
I do.
Are there any conflicts of interest, or have there been any ex parte communications on the part of any of the board members?
No.
No.
Let the record say none. So in tonight's hearing process, the board will hear from the following parties in the following order. The applicant, represented by Brad, as the town administrator. Then Brad can comment as the interim zoning administrator. Members of the Development Review Board, followed by members of the public. Do we have anybody online? Shani? Shani. Let the record show board member Shani Bartlett participating online. All speakers should address their comments to the board, not to other parties present at the hearing. Members of the public are 45 minutes unless by request a majority consent to the board to extend the time. The board may ask questions of anyone in attendance. The following information package that was distributed by the interim zoning administrator prior to tonight's hearing will be entered into the record. The materials in the information package relevant to this hearing include Exhibit A through Exhibit G, which is essentially the application, the certificate of service, the E911 map, proposed pavilion boundary sketch, proposed pavilion rendering, and section 3.19 surface waters and wetland from the 2011 Town of Underhill Unified Land Use and Development Regulations as amended through March 3rd, 2020. Also included is Exhibit G, which is public notice to 7 days, which was released on April 14th. We received no additional materials at tonight's hearing. And all these exhibits are available in the Town of Underhill's Site Plan Conditional Use Review File DRB 25-03 PV011X at the Underhill Planning and Zoning Office by request, and are also available on the town's website. So we begin testimony first by hearing from the applicant or their representatives. That's you.
That's me, I guess.
That's you.
Yes, so I'll give you a little background at the site visit, but the Moore family wants to donate a pavilion to Moore Park, which is named after their parents. After some discussion about east, west, north, south positioning, and we did go around probably almost 6 months. The Moores would like to see it to the north of where the skating rink is and parallel with the road and the skating rink. So this proposal was brought in front of the select board. Select board agreed. that they like the orientation. It's staked out there in the field. You'll note that we have a 50-foot setback from a top of slope. We had some debate about the terminology. When I think about a slope, I think about a slope is like a slope, right? But when I think about a bank is like a 90-degree bank, but nonetheless, it's labeled top of bank, but perhaps it should be labeled top of slope. But in
Yeah, I would do that.
You would
Just so
change
you're not
so you're
in
clear.
violation of your rules.
Right, exactly. So where it's labeled top of bank should be really say top of slope. Because if you use the definition of top of slope, that appears to be the situation here.
And you get the 50 feet, not 100.
Right, exactly. However, you could always waive up to 50% of the, through conditional use, but that's why, so when it was warned as both because it was unclear what determination the board would make. So if we're all on the same page that it's a 50-foot setback from the top of the slope, then the pavilion is outside of that. There'll be a little bit of fill that'll need to be added to bring it up to the grade of the ice rink. The town would do that work. Then a concrete slab would be poured and the pavilion would sit basically flush with the new grade, which would be similar to the ice skating rink grade, where the bottom of the ice skating rink, I'm not saying top of ice, but the bottom. It was also brought to my attention after the select board approved this, that select board chair stated that there should be some sort of a handicap access to it. So it's not on your plan, but we'd probably, we would propose a kind of stay mat SurePack path from the existing parking lot where there'd be a handicap parking space to the pavilion. So no stairs, no ramp. Hopefully everything would just be flush to the ground. We do need to have power to the pavilion, so we'll run underground conduit, small underground conduit for 2 outlets, one on each side inside the pavilion. This would allow also to have an inside light. During the wintertime, the skating rink is lit up, so it would make sense to have the pavilion lit as well.
Pardon me, Brent, the outlets, and that would be powered enough for band equipment and the like, so
Right.
we'll make sure of
Yeah,
that. Okay.
Oh, yeah. And let's see, did I miss anything? I don't think, we're gonna keep the existing trees, because a lot of there's a maple, 6 or 8 inch maple in the back to the north of the pavilion, between the edge of the woods, that was donated by a family. There's a plaque there. So we put a lot of thought into making sure the pavilion was enough away from that so the tree could grow properly, and that is it.
All right. Any questions from the board?
So there are no plans to take down any of the trees, correct?
No trees are going down, no.
And then.
Except for the one that's dying in the northwest corner.
Yeah, and there is an elm that we planted on the bank, that's gonna stay.
We're not going into the woods.
Okay, good.
Brad, to conform to the terminology we're using in our regs, like Mark said, you're changing top of bank, you're asking the surveyor to change the drawing, right? So to say top of slope, or are we just saying in our decision
We're just
that
gonna- yeah.
that we're using the wrong terminology? Or we're
I'll cross it out and write top of slope right now.
Okay,
So,
there's also some on the left-hand side too.
yeah, I see it. It's all
Okay.
written.
All
Well,
right.
yes, exactly.
Hmm.
But I
You
can,
initial that, you cross it off and then.
I can amend that, yes. We just, all this work wasn't done for this pavilion. It was
Yeah.
for the sidewalk project that we're proposing, so I just, while they were out there this
Oh.
winter and the rink was up, I said, let's locate the rink. Then the pavilion was plotted on there based on the rink location.
What's the pavilion going to be used for?
Mostly for food truck night, you know. We have bands, so this will be a place to have the band instead of being outside on the grass.
Yoga.
Could possibly be used for yoga. It could be used for town events if we have, say, a celebration or a party recognizing someone. It could be a, place for speaking, a podium for speaking.
And is the design that was in the packet the actual design of the pavilion?
Well, it's a rendering of what they're proposing to build. It's not a timber frame structure. It's more of a, New England-y type.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're not really ruling on architecture.
No.
No, I'm asking more. And 'cause the size of it though, it's pretty big, right? It's 20
No,
feet.
it's pretty small, actually. It's 14 by 20, which isn't really too big, but big enough, I guess.
I mean,
Mills Riverside's bigger than
to go out of our jurisdiction, I would have some recommendations on this. Don't put the balustrades
that. Yeah.
encircling the whole thing around.
That's what I
Yeah,
do.
like I say, I think that's just a rendering. It's,
Sometimes these things are prefab bought,
right,
Yeah.
and you get what you get.
okay.
Yeah, and you want to make sure if your handicap pathway up to it has an opening into if it's got a balustrade.
I think I do remember John saying that would be 100% open all around,
That'd be
all
good.
sides.
That'd be better, I think.
So,
Yeah,
It's just a roof.
yeah.
this is just for the heck of it, this is just a simple one.
Yeah, they didn't want to go the post and beam route.
Why not?
They just thought it didn't fit the character of with the old town hall and they're trying to kind of match the New England-y kind of look.
Is this something they would like to do this summer? Or?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep. They
First
would.
food truck night's like June 19th.
Yeah, we gotta get that done.
So,
Ah,
like I said, I'm trying not to get too much into the middle. It's a very generous offer,
Mm.
and I trust the Moores have great taste. So I'm sure it'll be a well built. It may be a kit. I'm not sure, but I will ask some of those questions about. But I'm pretty sure John said it'll be open all around. Yeah.
We should have yelled a question at him. when he
Yeah, I guess we
drove by.
could
Yeah.
have had him come in, I suppose.
So I crafted the decision because you started writing the script yesterday, so I crafted the decision. We have to go through, there's site plan review criteria, there's conditional use review criteria, and then there's some section out of 3.14, which is more along the lines of site plan review.
Is there conditional use criteria if you determine that conditional use isn't the site plan review, right?
What brought them in here, right? You made the decision to warn it as both conditional use and for site plan. So
Just not knowing how the determination will go for the Browns River.
It could be
So then,
A or B.
so then
Well,
you're saying we could,
Just throwing that out
we could ignore conditional use if
there.
we.
I don't know, but Charlie's brings a good point. Maybe how did you get there?
yeah, how'd you get there?
How'd you get there?
How'd you get there? And if we don't agree with how you got there, then we've got to say we feel the conditional use criteria doesn't apply. I think you got there because top of bank, top of slope. With the conditional use, we can waive that.
Right.
that
So be
50.
safe,
Yeah.
to be safe, not knowing how you would look at the situation.
So we could say it doesn't apply if we agree that it fits the criteria.
Yeah, we could say that.
Well, I'd be inclined to simplify it and say that.
Sure.
If we don't have to waive anything, waive under conditional use, that would I think that seems right.
So long as we're interpreting that.
So somewhere along here, we have to find that this section out of the regs, Article 3 General Regulations, this is diagram 3.1 in the general regs.
Right. I think what I would like to do, I think, is read the definition of top-up slope so that we can see that it actually applies to what is said here as the top of the bank, so that we're then following the thread so that it's changed. Is that all right to do that?
I think so.
Okay. So under stream bank, Article 11 definitions, under stream bank, there are entries for top of bank and top of slope. And top of slope is defined as a break in the slope adjacent to steep banked streams that have little or no floodplain. And top of bank is defined as the point along a stream bank where an abrupt change in slope is evident and where the stream is generally able to overflow the banks and enter an adjacent floodplain only during flows exceeding the average annual high water stage. So the top of bank is relative to a condition where there's an adjacent floodplain that water would flow when it exceeds the average high water stage. And top of slope is a break in a steep bank stream that has little or no floodplain. So I think given, in my view, given what we just discussed on site, that designation as top of bank on the boundary sketch really, per our regs, would be called top of slope. That's what I propose.
I'm not sure the situation out there on the ground is in our definition. It's really top of riprap.
Top of riprap,
What's
yeah.
it called? Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's, you know,
What doesn't say
it was in a
natural?
rolling stream bank, we got riprap and backfill.
It's kind of like what Brad was describing. The far side of the river is clearly a low top of bank situation. Then it floods off into the woods. And then on the park side, it's a steep hill, steep slope.
Man-made perhaps.
Yeah, man-made perhaps, but they don't really care.
Yeah,
And that you would term as your top of slope, 50 foot. Usually the top of slope ones are way bigger, but I'm okay with Brad's analysis of it.
the floodplain on the, when you look at the layers on the map, the floodplain does exceed that top of slope slightly on the side close to the pavilion. And on the other side of the river, it extends quite far.
This green line?
Yeah. Yep, it kind of crosses over, but then in here, it's.
Those are
Right,
not
it
really
is, yeah.
mapped very accurately
Yeah.
by topography.
Which one?
That green line there,
What's
those
the
are like
green line?
GIS lines.
Yeah,
Which
there's
says
paper
it's-
maps that are quite
which-
old.
Regulatory flood.
No, that's a zone AE, that's a D-firm line. That's a good line.
So Dan, do you think it would be safer to think about it as a waiver situation if we wanted to do that and waive it under conditional use if we felt like it could be waived, or do you think it's going to be more clean cut?
I know, it doesn't matter to me,
Okay,
just
clarifying.
clarifying, it's just a riprap, stream bank.
I guess, but you have to look at the existing conditions that you have today, right? So no matter how they got there, what are the conditions today?
Yeah.
Whether it's man-made or natural,
Yeah,
naturally
right.
formed.
And like you say, if the riprap wasn't there and all the fill wasn't there, you'd be looking at a different situation potentially. But-
Probably we wouldn't put a gazebo there either.
Right, but our
Would you
town
do-
garage has been there since the 50s before.
Yeah.
I think we even had floodplain regulations or even FEMA maps.
But
First FEMA maps, I believe, were in the late 70s, maybe early 80s.
And
Yeah, this is a zone AE, so it's a 100-year it's a floodplain with a base flood elevation. So that line is from the D-firm, but the D-firm was determined with LiDAR back in
Okay.
2011.
Okay,
So it's not like a zone A where it could be anywhere.
which is this over here.
That's a zone, well, part of that is a zone AE, but it turns into zone A.
Here.
Yeah.
Or this upstream.
What's the difference between AE and A?
So an AE or an A, there's many different, anything with like a double letter like that has a base flood elevation. So they've determined at this cross section what the flood elevation is.
Mhm.
And then a zone A is kind of a flood inundation area, and it can be, it's open to debate where it is
Okay.
based on a X-res study or something like that. But the AE is, it's pretty much where it is. Except you could fine tune it if you took the base flood elevation and tracked it.
Yeah.
But I bet it's pretty close.
So if we you guys don't want to call that the top of bank or top of slope?
Yeah, we'll call it top slope. I'm ready to cross this out, top of bank, and write top of slope.
Okay, yeah,
Because it follows the definition in our regs.
yeah. Well, that's what I mean. If we call that the top of slope, then we can automatically give them the 50-foot.
Right, well, right. And we're just not renaming it just to give them the 50 feet. It
We
actually,
interpret it that way.
yeah, we interpret it per the definition that it's
As our regs are, so that all the right
the
words are,
terminology.
as our regs are currently written, we
Right.
interpret that near riprap top to be the top of slope.
Yes.
And which
Correct.
allows us to give them a 50-foot setback.
Yes.
Right, and not have to waive, which
Yeah.
means we could forego conditional use.
Except when I look in the district tables here.
Oh, it is a conditional use.
Well, no, public facility,
Right,
government public is site plan review in the Underhill Center Village. However, when you get into like outdoor recreation, it's conditional review. So I was trying to fit this in. I wouldn't know if I'd call it recreation per se.
What was it public, what was the
You
definition?
got the other recreation out there that has. I think we need to,
Yeah. So
go
anyway,
into this.
so by a public facility, government public is in this zone is site plan review.
Yeah, government public, I think that's like a park.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
How about this? A building or other facility owned, leased, held, used, and or controlled exclusively for public purposes by a municipality.
That's us.
That fits well.
So, under site plan review, there's some specific standards that we have to have. We have to say it conforms to the town plan. It conforms to the zoning district and use standards where it's located. And then it's got some performance standards that are outlined in section 3.14, which are a little bit more techie, I'll call it. And the performance standards basically says it doesn't create any dangerous, injurious, noxious, or otherwise objectionable conditions that adversely affect or interfere with the reasonable use of adjoining or nearby properties. You could say, depending on what kind of music is played. And so I wrote that down and said, we find it's not going to create any of that stuff. It's not going to create any noise louder than 60 dBs at the property line, other than occasional customary activities associated with the use. So if there's a band there at food truck night, that's a normal and customary activity. The gazebo itself, or the pavilion itself, isn't going to create any noise, it's the band. It's not going to create any apparent vibration, which transmitted to the ground is discernible at property lines without the aid of instruments. It's not going to create any smoke, dust, or noxious gases. It's not going to release heat, cold, moisture, mist, fog, or condensation. It's not going to create any electromagnetic disturbances or electron transmission or signals that will repeatedly and substantially interfere with the reception of radio, television, or other electronic signals, or which are otherwise detrimental to public health, safety, and welfare. And then the pavilion will not create glare, lumen, light, or reflection which constitutes a nuisance to other property owners or tenants, or which impairs the vision of motor vehicle operators. And then the last thing under the techie stuff is the pavilion will not create any liquid waste, solid waste, refuse that cannot be disposed of by available methods.
Brad, could I ask, is the intention probably to have ceiling mounted light fixtures?
Yeah,
or if it's
inside.
open?
No,
Okay,
no
not
outside.
shining out.
No,
No, be just to
Downward.
light the downward light to light the building up.
Personally think they should put more power there than just a two
I
outlets.
think so too.
Well, if it's 30, you do 30 volt or whatever,
30 amp.
30 amp rather.
You'll see
Yeah,
Christmas lights in the winter time, right? That's likely to be seen. Hockey lights, right?
Right.
More
I
plug,
recognize
more
the fact-
plug opportunities.
Yeah, I recognize the fact that the Moors are donating it, so it's kind of hard to.
well, no, we agreed to put the power in, so.
Yeah.
Town did.
So does the board feel you have enough information at this time to make a decision?
I do.
Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
yes.
I'm going to take a motion to close the evidentiary portion of the hearing.
I make a motion to close the evidentiary portion of the hearing.
Okay, so motion by Karen. Is there a seconded by Brian? Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Right.
So then I would take a motion for approval. Anybody want to make a motion for approval?
I make a motion to approve
Okay,
the site plan.
is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right.
Oh, so Penny makes a motion.
Penny makes a motion, Karen seconded it. Is there any discussion? So, in thinking about the decision, Brad and I put our heads together just immediately before the meeting. And we said that we want to make the motion for approval with the following conditions. So one of the conditions would be lighting for safety and security of the structure is permitted at the discretion of the select board.
Okay.
Decision number 2, handicap access to the structure will be provided by a stay-mat, sure-packed gravel pathway. And then the last one was the board authorizes the appeal period for the building permit to run concurrently with this decision's appeal period. So if we issue a decision, it's got a 30-day appeal period. Brad can issue a building permit 15 days in, and that appeal period will expire at the same time as the appeal period of our decision.
We've done that before. That's legal to do that?
We do that a lot. Brad asked that we put it in our decision, so.
Okay.
We have done it before. And I mean, basically, no construction can start until the appeal period runs out. No one has, if someone had participated in the hearing,
Then they can appeal.
maybe it would be a different situation, but since
Okay.
nobody's participated in the hearing, it was duly warned, butter letters went out. It's like a waiting game, you wait 30 and then you wait 15 and
Right, okay.
I don't know,
It makes sense.
it's up to you guys.
I didn't know if there was anything that specifically said we couldn't, but if you've never seen anything that says we can't do that, then why not?
I guess I haven't studied it thoroughly enough to say yes or no, but we've done it before.
We've done
Yeah, okay.
almost commonplace. We've done it,
Yeah.
So let's motion. You want to call it an amended motion or with those
With
conditions?
those conditions,
Any other discussion on the motion before us?
no.
All right.
So should I redo that and say, I make a motion to accept?
With condition.
You could amend your motion to include those 3
Okay,
conditions,
let's do that.
Yeah.
Penny Miller amends her motion to include.
the 3 conditions that we
those
discussed.
conditions.
All right, and so I need a second.
That's good.
Brian, seconds it. Any discussion on the amended approval with the 3 conditions? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So motion carries. So I just haven't had a decision done.
Oh.
Funneled in the site plan review versus.
Well, I gotta
conditional
get
use,
in
or-
there now and
just
just
subtract some.
subtract the conditional use stuff,
Okay.
because we felt the conditional use wasn't applicable.
Mm.
But I'll have it done. I'm gonna go home and do it tonight.
Thank you for doing that.
Well, I know what these guys wanted up for the first,
Yeah.
we gotta give them some time to build it before the first food truck.
We're trying. I told John was very anxious to order, and so we should have the hearing first and, feel confident that it's gonna pass, and then you could order it. So I think we've got a little breathing room, because they probably won't make the June food truck night, but certainly July.
Yeah,
Be close.
it'd be close. Well, they probably don't wanna have construction going in the June
Exactly.
food trucks.
And we'd like, it'd be nice to have the grass have a chance to catch. And-
Yeah.
Or maybe we'll lay some turf.
So, so we have to review and approve the minutes from, I don't know when.
Well, one way back.
What was the hearing?
August.
Yeah, because we've never, every meeting we
I
have.
haven't had the right people at the hearing to approve the minutes.
Do you remember what was the hearing? Oh, Gordon.
I'd sent it around.
I didn't see it.
It was in the,
Oh,
Didn't see it either, but was it the Gordon
it's in
hearing?
the last email I sent to you guys.
What was the date of the hearing?
19th, is it?
Yeah.
You got it, Charlie?
Hang on a second, I gotta click save, so.
I don't think I was there for the 19th. Oh, no, no, I wasn't here for that one.
Yes, it was August 19th, 2024.
Did I email it, Shani? I thought I
Yeah, you did. That was in your original email. You had the two sets of minutes attached.
the original.
One from August 19th and one from April 14th.
And we have the right people we must have.
We got everybody.
I got everybody.
And maybe it's here.
Yeah.
First time.
It's like old home week.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, except that I'm not on there. So this was,
Read who's there.
huh,
Pretty sure I
Wait a
was.
minute. So which one are we looking at? August
August
19th?
Yeah.
yep, I wasn't there for
Wasn't
that.
there.
All right. This was Gordon applying for a permit to have his wood processing operation on his property. As I record.
And there was another, I think there was another hearing too. Another,
Oh, yeah.
that same night.
And that was the Warner Creek
Yeah.
subdivision amendment for Redfield.
Is that like a garage there?
Yeah.
Yeah, if I remember that.
Expansion of the envelope.
Yep.
Or reduction of the envelope. Where do you want to put it?
So, I think I was there for that one.
We were, yeah.
Yep, that was
Karen, were you there?
No,
Yeah, it says Karen was absent, Meg was absent, Matt was absent. So only Charlie, Brian, Shaney, and Dan.
So,
that's enough.
if the four of us agree, we can sign those. So Shane, did you hear that?
I make a motion to approve the minutes from August 19th, 2024.
She heard.
You definitely heard it. Awesome. I'll second that motion. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor of approving the minutes of August 19th, 2024, signify by saying aye.
Aye. It's
Motion
hard not
carried.
to approve them because it's like word by word.
Yeah.
Donna does a good job.
So we approved the minutes from August 19th, 2024. The other thing we have to talk about tonight, that's the only one.
We had, no,
And then-
the last set we had when we met,
Yep,
Which was
April
the same-
14th.
Heine
Same exact cast of characters.
Grove.
Honey
Yeah.
Grove, right?
I just
Charlie,
have
Shane,
a question about that one. Is one of the listed community members was Jennifer Walker? Is there another Jennifer Walker?
Yeah, she's owner.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. I was like, Jen Walker wasn't there.
applicant.
I see.
So, motion to approve the minutes from, was it April 14th?
Right.
Yes, I make a motion to approve the minutes from April 14th, 2025.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying
Aye.
aye. Greg, you can.
I can't say. Or I was there.
Good
Right.
job.
I was there. Okay, you were there. I was there.
You were there. So, now we have to discuss future schedule. What do we
So,
got?
unfortunately, I've failed Dan in getting him what he needs for the Piney Grove decision, but I'm working on it.
Oh,
And we have a potential sketch plan review coming up for maybe next time we meet in the, should be, hang on a second.
Should be 2 weeks from tonight, right?
Yeah, I'm just trying to say the
It's
date.
like 19th.
19th.
yeah, 19.
So May 19th. It's on Beartown Road. It's the old Kusero subdivision, if you remember. It was a PRD, but there was a separate 5-acre lot that Bill Lewis owned, who was Sue's husband, which was not, appeared to be not part of the PRD. And the, typically that would have been off limits for subdivision, but the Underhill Center Village Zone took that parcel in. So now that's a 1.5 acre zone. It's a 5 acre
Really?
parcel.
Wow.
So they're
Wow.
proposing just cutting it in half for family. It's a family thing.
Well,
Yeah.
so where's that?
Top of the hill will, we're at the top of the hill on the left.
Acer Ridge go.
Before
go
Acer
in.
Ridge.
Oh, it's before Acer Ridge, so
Before.
where they're cutting the pine trees?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that,
So that's it. So that's gonna be a sketch plan review.
Is that so you can-
Potentially on the 19th.
That's just, are you going in the right direction?
Yeah, pretty much what
I
it's,
mean,
yeah.
I'm not going off.
Yeah, so the purpose of sketch plan is to, you know, the developer puts their proposal before the board before he spends too much money.
Am I heading in the right direction?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and, you know, historically, you know, somebody comes in with something like this, we tend to get really picky about it.
Mm.
And, you know, so the applicants are better off coming in with a copy of the tax map with a line.
With some crayons on it.
Right?
Okay.
So what we've been doing to kind of help us out in this process is we've been going to the site during the sketch plan process, because how do we know? Right?
Mm.
We're looking at lines on a piece of paper. So what I would suggest we do is we meet up there at 6.
Yep.
We just do a quick site walk. And we come back here and we do a sketch plan.
Okay.
You know.
So we'll have enough of everybody, everybody's available.
I don't think I'll be around.
Shoot.
I should be.
I'll barely be
Either.
around.
Barely be around. That's
so tell me again why it becomes 1.5 acre lot?
because that parcel got encapsulated in the new zoning district.
How
It
did
used to
it,
be in water conservation.
right, how did
right?
it get,
We created an Underhill Center
right,
Village
you did,
District.
historical district.
Right, no, not historical, but Village District.
Right,
And that parcel is part of that now.
Well, it's historical in the sense that Andrew just copied the Beers map
yeah,
of Underhill Center.
Right, but he also followed parcel lines. Yeah,
But that's how
okay,
that zoning district got defined.
Okay.
Was a historic map.
yep,
So, I mean,
okay, fair enough.
it didn't
But-
get like expanded or smaller, it just followed that.
You did.
Right, well, it's a new district, right, that was formed. The Underhill Center District, I don't believe it was ever a district on its own before. It was part of water conservation or,
Correct, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm just saying, that when somebody says historic district, I think of
The district
historic
itself,
district with
but-
rules and regs and, but anyway, we call it the Underhill Center Village District. And now that parcel is part of that, so.
and now, why does that take precedent over the PRD? That's,
It wasn't part of the PRD.
it wasn't?
No,
I didn't think so, but
No,
that could
I
be your
remember it
decision.
wasn't. I
That could
remember
be your
that one.
decision. It's a 5-acre lot that was created by a different subdivision that was not a PRD.
I remember talking about that at the time, but don't we have the plat for the PRD
Yeah.
and it wouldn't include?
It's very specific that it's lots, boom, boom, boom. There was,
I remember Sue saying, my husband wants to keep that.
well, it was always a separate lot, so it's been in separate ownership by Bill Lewis, not Sue Kusero, forever.
Okay.
And, well, not forever, but since probably the 80s. And it was not part of the PRD that Sue did. However, there was a slight adjustment to the boundary of the 5-acre lot. And so the 5-acre lot got a little bit larger. It was just a triangle lot that was basically for sight distance.
Mhm.
But I reviewed the decision, and you can too. That'll be your determination. You know, this would be good to do it as sketch plan, because if you're gonna rope it into the PRD, then it's not subdividable.
Yeah, I can't believe that spot has 5 acres. You know, you're talking about it was a part 5-acre lot.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't even seem like that.
Oh, it goes, so if you remember, you come into Asa Ridge
Yeah.
and you go around the corner heading towards Sue's driveway,
Mm.
the lot goes all the way to the edge of the road over there.
The old road.
Yeah.
Is
Okay.
the entire 5 acres is in the Underhill
Yes.
Center? Okay.
They cut it right around, they went right around the Underhill Center.
So I'm not here that night either.
Okay,
So
so
you're in
that's,
charge.
so are we gonna have
We don't
enough?
have-
So we've
I'll
got
be there.
you,
Yep.
Greg? No,
No, I will not be here.
you will not be here.
What night is this?
19th.
19th.
So if we can't get a quorum, it's fine. We can
Just push it to June.
push it till
Sorry.
Is Shady available or?
Janie.
Yeah, I can be there if it matters.
We got 2.
Otherwise, we're looking at June 2nd, which is
Just puts it
2 weeks away.
I can do that.
You can do June 2nd, but, so you're out.
Yeah.
For the 19th, you're out.
No, I could do either. The
You can
19th
do
or
either.
the 2nd.
So I'm just gonna write this down here.
And it wouldn't be before 6, right, you said?
Well,
We
we could
do
make the
6.
site visit.
Site visit is
But you're
Six,
out.
I'm out. I'm sick. We make the site visit at
You're
6:30.
available.
I'm available, but should I be, yeah, they're not a butters,
No, not even close.
not even close anymore, not even close. Yeah.
So Karen and Penny, you're not?
I can make it for 6,
You can.
yeah,
Wait, for 6 o'clock?
6 PM.
Oh.
On the 19th.
And Shani, you are available?
Yes.
I mean,
So we got 4.
So we could run it with 4.
and Matt will probably be back, but if you're
Yeah,
worried about
right.
making it, we can make the sidewalk at 6:30. And then just do, the regular hearing at 7.
I'm coming from Canada that day, but I just realized I can come down Pleasant Valley Road
Yeah.
and scoot here and not have to go around the home and then come here, so I can make it.
Are you sure?
But we could make it
Yeah.
for 6:30, though, it's easier.
Unless you get held up, I was gonna say.
Yeah, you're
Right.
gonna be at the.
Oh, yeah.
front.
If that lets you back, yeah.
It would be
Make
just
it
my
for
luck.
6:30.
Yeah, you get real ID.
Yeah.
You wanna make the site
I
visit?
came
for
through
6:30?
yesterday,
6:30,
basically
for
waved
6:30.
me.
Okay.
Oh, yeah?
Wanna do that?
As long as we don't put anything else
You didn't
on
wanna
that,
know anything?
on that evening.
No, there'd be nothing else. So 6:30 site visit?
Okay.
6:30 site visit, 7 o'clock.
Okay.
Yep.
7:30 adjournment.
Okay, so the butters are the Dillons, and then this other house, there's another house, I don't know.
Chris Boley.
Chris Polly? Oh, right,
Chris
yeah,
House right
that's
here.
right, yeah, you're right.
And that lot comes over the
Right.
hill towards
Mhm.
Chris's, it's right on top of Chris. So the
Yeah.
lot's quite large. One's 5 acres, pretty rectangular.
Interesting.
So we
Okay,
have.
I'm gonna drop off. Is there anything more that we need?
Bye.
Just was soliciting a motion to adjourn,
I'll make
Okay.
a motion to adjourn at, what time is it?
7:16.
7:15. 15.
Right on
Right
schedule.
on the money.
I second that motion.
All those in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Anyone opposed?